Anytime now. Welcome to the show that gives the color purple a brand new meaning. That's right, we're talking about the second Marvel Netflix miniseries, a show that follows a hard-drinking and hard-boiled private investigator with superhuman abilities as she combats her dark past returning to haunt her. This woman and this show is Jessica Jones.
Jessica!
That's right, folks. Okay, so Dragon, we're just a little over a week away from the premiere of Luke Cage. Oh yeah, we're both stoked about that. So we're kind of cramming in the last few Jessica Jones. The Marvel Netflix stuff got lost in the shuffle when we're doing a bunch of the retrospectives, Christmas in July, Spielberg month, all that. Of course, Bates Motel coverage. A lot of stuff that kind of went, but we're back. We're back, Dragon. We're back. And you know what else is worth the wait?
What?
I mean, you only have to wait like 6 days, like it comes out every Sunday, but it's worth the week we late. It's the Movie Machine Podcast. It's what happens when you take four funny people and improv a movie based on a random story generator really, really fast. You got Jake Gulliver, Kyle Decker, Ben Lifson, a host of special guest stars, the creators and Mind Trust of Super Academy coming together for an improv-based talk show podcast. It's amazing. It's spectacular. You have to check it out at hotchocolatemedia.net, Jessica. That's .net, Jessica, not .com. All right. Okay, Dragon. So we are here to talk about one of my personal favorite episodes of the season. It's definitely not quite up there with WWJD, but I do think it's very good in its own right. It is a sin bin.
Yep.
So with that in mind, let's just break it down. Let's go to the plot.
Okay, so here's the cliff notes of the plot here for you folks. The plot. Get evidence and a confession from the Purple Man in his special cell. He does not make it easy. Hope has to consider a 20-year plea bargain. She takes 20 years for a guilty plea. Simpson gets medical help from the famous/infamous Dr. Kozloff.
After his famous/infamous boys bite the dust.
Well, yes, but let's save that one.
Okay.
Hogarth's divorce is getting worse by the hour. Jessica searches for Purple Man's parents as the ultimate proof to exonerate Hope. And in the end, thanks to Hogarth, well, we're going to find out next episode, specifically Hogarth, but we get some clues here and there. It's Hogarth. Boys, thanks to the efforts of Jerry Hogarth, Kilgrave escapes. A lot of collateral damage, but Jessica learns. In the end, though, important thing, Jessica learns the Purple Man can't control her anymore, so yay! And that's the plot.
All right. With that in mind, let's get to Jessica's journey.
Yes.
So Jessica is in control for for a major part of this episode, and that's, it's not to say that she hasn't been in control of the situation before, but it's like she's got Kilgrave right where she wants him. And Dragon, it's just funny, it just keeps escalating and escalating.
Yeah, of course, the best thing about this is it's an excellent reverse of episode 8, where even Jessica was not in control. And, getting control is a big thing because she had that taken away from her in terms of her broad character arc. She 2 months of her life, she had no control over what she was doing because this man was victimizing her. Now, the tables turn. I think this episode might connect with a lot of people who have been, either it's sex trafficked, raped, or any number of crimes or people's free will or independence is taken from them in a horrible capacity. I think people might really get a kick from this episode.
I would say both episode 8 and 9 together is a really good kind of think piece.
Yeah, but I think on some kind of cathartic level, people just kind of get a kick out, like seeing kind of the abuser kind of get his comeuppance.
Of course.
You can literally get some licks in there, like bam, bam, like a few punches in there, really. Yeah, like Kevin Smith says, he loves it when the bad guys really get their punches and they really kind of take a beating. So I think in some level there's like cathartic enjoyment to be found. And I think Jessica's getting that out of this experience on some level as well. So you're right, Tika. From the get-go, Jessica's in control, so she's feeling very confident at the beginning of this episode.
I love how we set up the this sin, like the sin bin throughout the whole series. Throughout, like, we've gotten little bits and hints and pieces of it, and all kind of accumulates together in this. It's almost kind of like a Saw style device. You know what I mean, Dragon? I mean, I know you're not a horror guy, but it's very much like it's just kind of horrific what she's done to Kilgrave, just both mentally and physically. But that's the point. That's what she's trying to drive home: the mental and physical torture. That's what Kilgrave inflicted upon her.
Right, and if I may, let me play a little bit of that excellent scene for us. We're going to have all of that kind of summarized here. And also, like a fun callback, fun little sandwiching of the whole Jessica, craze that everyone loves of this show.
I swear to God, it's more real than the Norman thing. I swear to God.
Yeah, the Norman thing really should actually be a thing. But, I mean, Vera Farmiga knows that she's famous for yelling Norman, so at least she knows it. Anyway, less Bates Motel, more Jessica Jones. Here we go. Alright, so let me say this again. What's so great about that in Kilgrave in this whole episode is that despite the fact that Jessica has the upper hand, it's the fact that he's still kind of in this Hannibal Lecter-like position where he just has the most cutting, evil lines, because now he's just exercising as much power as he can, where he's just really taking people down with these comments. Like the end there where he said, I've never killed anyone. Can you say the same? Because bringing up Reva really rubs dirt in the wound because she really hates them. And plus there's that idea in play that, and how much of that was on, what she was capable of, or, the classic hypnosis question. I've been bringing this up. I mean, at the end, there really does raise that question still, like how much that's, on her versus on Kilgrave.
Sure. I'm trying to think of anything else to say, Dragon, but all the other stuff about Jessica really kind of, we can fit into the other categories unless you have anything else.
Well, I mean, I wanted to, go through it, but we also get, like, this great moment that kind of epitomizes, just in dialogue, kind of how the tables have turned, how Jessica's kind of loving this. It goes a little bit like this, real short. It's a really kind of cool bit, just like Jessica's been waiting for a long time to say that without having to worry about people getting hurt on the sidelines. You can finally get away with saying that,
I mean, look how far we've come from, like, episode 2 and 3. Like, she's just terrified to be in the same room with him, and now it's just she's got complete dominance over him in just this sick kind of way. It's great.
Yeah, but again, the scene kind of it's really interesting. Jessica kind of has like a sandwich of confidence here, and we'll get this actual sandwiches later. But
yes, we'll get to actual physical sandwiches. Yes.
No, seriously, if you look at her arc in this episode, though, she starts out very confident. She has Kilgrave whatever she wants, and by the end, despite everything going horribly, she still has a bit of confidence. And we'll get to that a little bit later on. But let's just say this much: just getting from point A to point B. There is that she tries every trick in the book to get a confession, which we saw her try as well during the during What Would Jessica Do? And she has recordings of him confessing like stuff that has origin that doesn't really help now. It gives her clues as to where to find the parents later on, but still, it's not really. I don't really think it's admissible in court, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, we see Jessica throughout. She tries every trick to get a confession, but at the end of the day, she's no Black Widow. Let's face it, she's not that good. And basically, the efforts kind of go a little bit like this in this little scene here. Let me play this for you.
You want to build guys were supposed to be clever. Start at the beginning, Kevin. It was a cold, clear night when I came across the young beauty being held in the time down dark. Don't make me hurt you. Sage. Tears. Since you did it. The night of rains induced.
So Black Widow, she's not, but at least she gets to shock the crap out of guys or give her lip.
Yeah, I just love the psychological torture of this and the Kevin thing, man. The Kevin thing really gets under his skin. It's great.
Yeah, it really is creepy, though. I mean, just showing you that, again, she's not all the way a hero yet, because it's a really kind of underhanded, kind of playing dirty thing where she's playing the origin behind him, like the whole torturous videos of him.
That's absolutely why this episode is one of my favorites, is because of the moral ambiguity of it all. Because really, when you look at it, I mean, yes, this guy has done some horrific things, but, you know, you've got that whole argument of, like, if you do something to him, are you just as bad as him? I mean, certainly she's not just... You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah.
Anyways.
So, I mean, like Batman, for example, Batman has a thing where he doesn't like the torture, but, you know, there is a thing where he doesn't like... He'll scare the bejesus out of guys, but he doesn't, you know, he doesn't like to torture him, like, you know, like break every thumb off or anything. He doesn't like claw him with a hammer, like, you know, threaten him with death. Like he'll you know, give like a vague threat of death, but more to scare him. It's never like an actual.
I would say maybe with Batfleck that's more questionable, but with Batfleck,
well, let's not drag Batfleck in every little debate about Batman.
No, Batfleck is Batman. No, I'm just
anyway. So
that is Batman right there.
So a few more things before we move on with Jesse's journey. I just want to bring up real quick because I think they are kind of a really well-woven narrative, like where she goes from this episode. So, you know, she's frustrated that, you know, she has Kilgrave exactly where she wants him, and all season is she's been waiting for this. You know, she has him right where she's wanted for all season. As you mentioned, you know, the sin bin has been set up like episode 5, I believe. You know, they're going to try to capture Kilgrave, bring him there. They finally have him there. But with all her power and her strength, like physically, she can, you know, as we see her, knock him around quite a bit. With all of her powers, she still can't get what she needs to save Hope, a confession.
Right.
She takes out, we see her again take out her aggression physically and mentally with the video footage and the Kevin's playing on the Purple Man. She strong arms. You know, you're right with the moral ambiguity. You're absolutely right, Becca. You know, she's strong arming Hogarth and Clements, you know, for their assistance in matters. Like, remember, she threatens to give the Purple Man Clements' address just to get him to cooperate. Says, "What if I give him your address?"
You wouldn't do that, no, but you stopped. You stopped in your tracks. You know how bad that would be.
Yeah, it's really good, clever stuff here. And speaking of clever, I love in this episode, the great thing with Jessie is that, you know, she uses her PI detective work to find Kilgrave's parents. It all boils down to her being a PI and a good investigator. It's what saves Abe, not her power, not her strength. She has to find other solutions. Which, again, you don't want just the character who, at the end of the day, can just like pound their way out of everything. That's why Superman's, you know, he has the Clark Kent identity. You want to make the guy more interested in that. You want to make him more than just the guy who flies in and just like punches the guy.
Sure.
And let's see. Again, as dark as things are, I just love there's like a glimmer that, despite the fact everything's going horribly wrong in the end, we get that one. She gets that wonderful clarity, and just that little gleaming moment that, you know, she can still put things back together. So again, she still has that confidence at the end of it, but through really everything going horribly wrong. Okay, so moving on.
Okay, let's get to Purple Man's progression.
Yeah. And this episode is a testament to David Tennant's acting capabilities. It really is.
You know what, Dragon? I still have to rewatch like episodes 10 through 13, but I would be hard pressed to say that this would be his best performance throughout the whole season.
Well, here's the thing. I think 8 is just, he's so fantastic throughout, but I think here he really, no, he's still good throughout in this one. I think his performance really stands out when he meets his parents in the episode. I get a sense, Tiki, that's where,
you know, like up until then, it was all bullshit and we knew it was bullshit. You know what I mean? Any sympathy card that fucker was trying to play, Jessica, like, we were completely on her side. You know what I mean? Like, don't give me any shit, you know? But when he met his parents, that's when Kilgrave became human. And that's completely in Tennant's performance.
Because again, it's so great. Just as it kind of does a play with the audience there, where again, episode 8, we're starting to be a little manipulated by the Purple Man ourselves, and now again, 9, we're absolutely on Jessica's side, like we were beforehand. We're back to basics, and then we get another loop thrown at us with the parents, and it's mind-blowingly cool.
This whole show really, it does have that effect of like kind of getting you into the Purple Man's psychology.
Yeah, again, it puts you in Jessica's head of like being terrified, being taken control over, manipulated by the Purple Man. So it seems like in the get-go of this episode, the way Tennant plays here, where Purple Man is at the beginning of this episode, he's in a position that to us, seemingly at first, he's powerless. He's in a position where he is not in control of the situation. Where again, so wonderfully, episode 8, he was absolutely in control of everything until he relinquished a little bit of power, and that took him down at the end of episode 8. So now the ramifications of that, he is in a cell, can't use his powers. He has like a pheromone thing, so he has to sealed off environment means even if you could hear him, you're still safe.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's why he can't control you over the phone, otherwise it'd be unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's very Lecter-esque, and again, I love every line. As I mentioned before, every line is just so cutting, and he's just exercising his mind. It's building upon this thing we've seen played throughout the season, Tiki. This, I think, is the crescendo it's been built up to, is that he's using his power less. In this episode, for until the very ending, he doesn't use his powers at all, and he's still manipulating everything. He's still in control, much to Jessica's frustration. And again, he doesn't have to tell her a darn thing.
And again, like some of the great acting does come from the bits where Jessica is just watching him react to things.
Yep. And again, we get these little, you get these excellent moments where she has these little lines again where she's beating the crap out of the Purple Man, and the episode can just out of frustrations, to manipulate him and getting using his powers, and he just won't because he's smart enough to realize, well, no, if I use my powers, then she'll have the evidence, and then I'm just that's the end of it. He still wants to go on the fun ride with Jessica. He's still manipulating her just to get under her skin, and he has this wonderful Hannibal Lecter-esque line where he's getting the crap beat out of him. He says this. So great. It's kind of like a Dark Knight Joker mixed with a Hannibal Lecter moment,
Yeah, definitely.
It's like the whole you have nothing to threaten me with, nothing to do with all your strength.
Oh god, that is like one of my favorite Heath Ledger quotes right there. That is well done. Anyways, so one of the best elements of Purple Man is just the psychological torture that Jessica inflicts on him with, like I was saying, Jessica's journey. Like, we really get under his skin. Like, we really do. As much as he deserves it, it is some hardcore shit that she's laying on him with like the footage of the kids mixed with, like the sound clips and the horrific like screams and everything. I mean, as much as this guy deserves it, I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
Yeah, because remember, Jessica has that great moment where she's watching the footage and she tells Trish, because remember, just the thing to know of it says, oh man, Jesus, I even feel sorry for him. Look at this.
All right, you know what, Dragon? I'm just going to bring it up. Now that you're halfway through Stranger Things, do you kind of see the connection, kind of?
Well, I mean, with the kid that's being tortured, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, Tiki is just... Well, again, he had all the elective surgeries on his brain. That's why he had the,
All right, well, I swear to God, I won't bring it up again. I just want to acknowledge it.
Anyway, let's see. Where's it going? Right. So I mean, yeah, I love the motivation for his resistance too. Is he just at the beginning there, he just feels so betrayed by Jessica and angry with her. Again, he even thought he might be a hero for a moment there. And again, you have to wonder how genuine that was. I'm getting a sense he actually might have. Again, it was like on a whimsy of like, hey, this could be kind of fun. Let's try it.
They were looking at me with admiration, Jessica. At me.
Again, he was so giddy like a schoolboy about it. Right. And again,
I just got a lollipop, Jessica.
And that anger for all that false hope, because he just realizes you were planning this from the start. You weren't gonna all of that. I put my heart and soul into you, and you'd string me along and you'd betray me like that. That's driving such a personal vendetta. Why he's not again? Because think about it, Birdman, you could still just not be a douche and just kind of give her like a little confession on tape about Hope Schlotman and still, maybe try to redeem himself. No, of course not. He wants the power over. He's just taking it out of pettiness, out of revenge.
Sure.
And again, it's so it's so great. I mean, you're right, Dave. We see him, and he's at his most vulnerable, faced with this footage of his past. And I think the idea I never rewatching it, rewatching the series, especially this episode. One of my favorite things is kind of the runner of the theme of past. You know, how the past is coming back, and how for many characters in this episode, the past is a source of power, and other instances it's a source of weakness. And you know, again with Kilgrave, it's a real kind of source of weakness. Jessica, it kind of serves as a source of strength later on. We'll get those with some of the other characters. Again, past is a great little runner through all of their arcs in this episode.
Cool.
Let's see. So yeah, so it's revealed in this episode. You know, we got the parents' sadistic measures. The sadistic measures, seemingly sadistic measures that were used on Kilgrave, were to help him. You know, because he was going to be brain dead by the age of 12. You know, if not for those treatments. That's kind of the big reveal in terms of his parents, just in relation.
Yeah,
to
right. And again, Dragon, moral ambiguity.
Yeah, because I like that it's a little ambiguous, Tiki, because I still think the parents were in the wrong.
I do too. I absolutely think they were in the wrong.
Because think about it, Tiki. I think it raises this question of like how innocent are the parents? Because they seemed in the video, it reads, you know, because they play it over and over again, different sections of it over and over again. They seem so callous in the video because they're not like saying, "Oh, we're so sorry about doing this." Like, no, just like, you know, do it again. Like, stop crying.
That's the thing. It's
and there's no explanation to the kid about what's going on.
The video is just hard proof, man. The video is hard proof. I mean, you can take any motivation you want, but you cannot do that to a kid.
Yeah, like there's no like little kind of soft touch explanation. Of course, this would have ruined the reveal if they had that in there. But I mean, in this episode, this would be the time to show it. But no, it was like no little thing of like, no, Kevin, listen, this is to help you. Like not even like a little ounce of like, no, I know this is gonna hurt you, so it's gonna help you. Like none of that, none of the support there. It's like, oh, we're doing. It's like they're blinded by their ambition.
Right,
and
right.
It makes all the sense in the world that this would lead to kind of a man-child who feels wrong. He just felt so wrong by that trauma, and it's just it's a horrific idea of parents raising a child by his order. You know, because again, after that he has no trust in the parents, so he's telling them what to do left and right, which we get the horrific notion later, like telling us what to do when and where, and you know, like these. On the will of temper tantrums leading to horrible situations, and like a kind of the atomic family all based in fear of like you're staying together because the kid wants you to. It's horrible. But let me play a little bit of that kind of parental. It does get a little heartwarming in the beginning there where they're reunited, and I still say this is a testament to some of David Tennant's best acting in the whole series. This scene really reads to me as, I have no proof of this, but I would assume this is like the reason David Tennant probably signed on for it when he like heard about a scene like this, because you can see like a lot of great range for him here. Here's the big kind of the friendly parents reuniting moment.
Oh yeah.
Jessica taught me to help people.
Someone give the man an Emmy. Come on. There's got to be some.
Kind of like give the father a guest star Emmy as well. Just give them all Emmys. Great performances all around.
Come on, give Talon one of the. Look, they have to have some leftover Emmys from the recent Emmys. Come on, give first of all, melt all of the leftover ones to a giant one for Freddie Highmore, saying with an apology, saying we're sorry we snubbed you. Here's a giant one. Secondly, give one of the regular ones to David Tennant, but make it purple. So. Last thing I want to say about it, because I think again that scene just speaks for itself. I would say it's probably David Tennant's best scene in the whole first season. It's really great.
I would say so. Yeah.
I think one of the best acted scenes in the whole season for him. Other thing I want to say about Perman, I love that this idea that one is power in this episode is coming from the refusal to use it, which is a really interesting idea.
Yeah, again, something that's been kind of seeded in throughout the whole, kind of like starting around like episode 4 or 5.
And again, it's that idea that again from the get-go, it's built to the crescendo here. Like it's been building and building. So now it's like the old part. He doesn't have to use his powers at all. They kind of still manipulate the situation.
And then the ironic thing is, him not using his powers kind of makes him powerful in its own right within the context of the episode.
Yeah, at first glance, you're feeling sympathy for him and thing, but then you realize, oh my God, he's pure evil. He's the devil and manipulating everyone. Especially Hogarth through the glasses, telling him, "Hey, I can solve your problems if you let me in. You're like Hannibal Lecter."
Sure.
And the last thing is, I love that as a kid, and this is my interpretation of his psychology before we move on here, is that I think really what it boils down to is, as a kid, just desperation for control of his own situation is what created the Purple Man.
Mm-hmm.
So then the kid who was desperate for control became the man who kind of rules over all control.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's get to, drop the clumsy. Let's get to Alias Alliances.
Yes. So let's start with the Purple Man and Jessica real quick. I know we kind of went through them individually, but let's just kind of talk about more of the two of them in conjunction. Main thing would be the tables have turned again from last episode, so now
well, like I said, it really is just such a great, just great side-by-side piece. Episode 8 and 9, they just really go together flawlessly. Like, 8, he has all the power. 9, it's just completely the other direction. But like we said, Dragon, like we were kind of discussing, Purple Man really does have power in his own right, and just kind of like that seesaw, that game of tug of war that they're playing with each other.
Again, it's like you feel so much sympathy for the guy in 8, and now in 9, he's just showing how evil he can be through that cell. And again, you finally have him where you want. You kind of regret having him there now because he's just so darn evil.
Right? Kind of like a Loki situation almost.
I know, it's much worse, and Loki's just kind of
I know, it is much worse than it. It's like a Loki situation just amplified.
Yeah, I mean, Loki has like an escape plan en route, but I mean, Purple Man, he's working on his own. He could escape at any second. And in the end, I love how Jessica uses Kilgrave's emotions against him until his strategy pays off. Again, his Loki plot kind of comes to fruition in the end there, but like him manipulating everyone, kind of manipulating the events to get some, kind of weigh on Hogarth, but at the same time, he's just kind of waiting for the opportunity. And he's like Trish with the gun, sees Hogarth, kind of beckoning towards his demands. He's just watching it all unfold. He's just watching everyone. Again, it's like he doesn't even have to do anything for them to kind of. He doesn't really have to do anything. They all kind of end up undoing themselves, and he just takes advantage when the minute he has the opportunity to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, it's like using Kilgrave's emotions worked for a moment. Using the parents is working wonders. Like, this is how you get under Kilgrave's skin. You go really personal with it. Which again, the whole relationship thing in the beginning of this episode, like the whole you made me think I could be a hero. All of that really gets under his skin. It's such a fun reversal. Like he gets really close and emotional with those people. It's used against him. Anyway, moving on to Jessica and Hogarth.
I don't know about you, Dragon. I really, in spite of the fact that it is Hogarth's fault that Purple Man escapes, yes, I did like Hogarth this episode. I think Hogarth showed like kind of the other side of the coin of the other side of the coin. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. The other side of the coin in terms of the moral ambiguity of the situation.
Yeah, like they're on very strained terms. With the moral ambiguity showing that Jessica's really kind of clenching people into kind of helping her out here. It's like they're on very strained terms. They're not happy with each other, especially she's not happy with Jessica's methods in this episode, but also really not happy with the lack of results for Wendy.
Everyone knows it's Wendy.
A little more depressing though. Everyone knows it's Wendy.
Oh god.
Anyway, moving on.
Unlike that Wendy, I don't think we'd welcome this Wendy as like a great guest star on Better Call Saul potentially.
Oh god, no.
Like if this Wendy was Saul Goodman's client and she was like, "Hey, listen, I need to help me with a divorce."
Well, it'd be great though if we saw Wendy in her prime on Better Call Saul. She'd be before she's kind of better teeth and everything. She looked a lot more.
Well, okay, like, that's Better Call Saul speculation. I mean, trust me, I think we're gonna get that at some point. But back on track.
Anyway, so I was about to continue on Hogarth and Jessica here. So Jessica keeps forcing Hogarth into staying via legalities. Speaking of Better Call Saul, I'd make it a little bit relevant. There are a lot of legalities, a lot of lawyer talk.
Better Call Saul for legal needs. All right.
Well, remember, Iron Fist is going to have that Jerry Hogarth spinoff.
Sure.
Okay, but seriously, I do like him. Jessica's she is very clever as the investigator. Is kind of all the little legalities of like, oh, well, you bear witness this, and now you're culpable, that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Jerry, she doesn't heed the warnings, which leads to some foolish decisions made out of, again, in all fairness, they were made out of desperation. That Jessica, I kind of like Jessica in some part is responsible for. Again, she was in kind of her drunken stupor. Again, wasn't really drunk, more just kind of, she has kind of a Captain America drunk thing, so I don't even know if she can actually get legitimately drunk, but I don't want to get on the whole tangent there, sorry. My point is, she, because of her mistake with Wendy, again, she kind of, that was on Jessica for that mistake that happened there, and the whole thing transpires. It's ruined Jerry Hogarth's life in regard. Now she's asking for much more. So again, Jessica's not without blame with the whole Wendy thing, but still, Hogarth, I'm not crazy about the divorce plot line at all.
No, we'll get to that. I would say the divorce plot line is probably definitely kind of the Achilles heel of the whole season.
But the redeeming thing I do like about kind of Hogarth's thing, I just wish, that divorce kind of plot just kind of takes the good stuff out of Hogarth's character this season. Is that I love that Hogarth, much like the Purple Man's parents, and just Purple Man in general, there's another great theme of desperation in this episode. They're all very desperate. Jessica's desperate to get Hope out of Dodge. Hogarth's desperate, the whole divorce thing, and Purple Man seems like the optimal solution. Purple Man's desperate to get Jessica back. His parents were desperate to save Kilgore. There's a great theme of desperation as well as that theme of the past coming back.
Definitely.
I guess moving on. So next we got Trish and Simpson.
My boys got blown up.
So. Yeah, so speaking of Simpsons past coming back, it goes a little something like this.
Was Jessica there? My boys. Simpson, I will kill you if you die in my car.
That is, I would say that's probably like the quintessential Trish line.
Yep.
Oh
yeah, but.
Oh my god.
I will kill you if you die in my car.
Simpson is such a dope.
Yeah, to be fair, they do make him a lot more interesting by the end of this episode. They set that up, the whole the nuke thing.
Sure.
Okay, but let's talk about that. Speaking of which, but we get a glimpse into Simpson's past life with Dr. Kozlov, and again, that's the theme of the past coming back here. So again, Simpson accepts his past. He brings up the past again. He was retired, and that's why he hasn't been taking the pills. And basically, he's taking the pills as a shortcut so he can heal and so he can get rid of Kilgrave. That's the plan.
Uh-huh.
And again, that also probably encounteres like caveats, like he's probably gonna have to enlist with whatever Kozlov military outfit, secret Black Ops military, where he met the boys that are very ineffectual.
Oh god.
I tell you, though, I was watching. I completely forgot about that line that he actually said. Like kind of a Godfather, like my boy. Look what they did to my boy. He pulled the Godfather with the whole. killed my boys. They killed the boys. It's so hysterical because they amped up the boys so much, and the boys were so. That had to be a running gag of some kind of the writers' room. Well, hey, let's mention the boys.
You would think so, right? Right? I mean, at this point, I think it's fair to say Simpsons Boys is far, far inferior to Dooley's Boys.
Yeah. Dooley's Boys is a real passionate, really, really heartwarming story. And Simpsons Boys, not so much.
Oh god, they're just a spin-off of Simpsons Boys. Oh god.
I'm watching the Dooley's Boys. I'm watching a prequel to Agent Carter called Dooley's Boys.
Okay.
Dooley's Boys.
Oh god. Oh, Jesus.
So, okay, seriously, getting back to Trish and Simpson, though. So, again, importantly, though, with the boys, and the point I'm getting across here, again, he's accepting the past as a source of strength. Again, it's kind of the running idea. Trish is sticking to the past in terms of that's where she's getting her knowledge of, how Jessica operates and why she's confident Jessica's not going to kill the Purple Man. But that's a little challenge.
I do like that struggle within Trish as well. I like how Trish is on the other side of the coin from Hogarth, where you see Trish just kind of like actively trying to go against Hogarth.
Yeah, remember she's sticking up for Jessica instinctually. Sure. Hogarth's about to push the button, and Trish eventually does push the button. But again, that's out of like she absolutely sees that, okay, my friend is in dire need of. She's about to do something she's going to regret. I'm going to stop her from doing it as a good friend would. And again, Trish has been very good throughout this whole season. By the way, Trish is always really strong. So anyway, just with the speaking of Trish, so in terms of their dynamic in this episode, it's really interesting that Simpson is begging Trish to kill the Purple Man. Because before he meets Dr. Kozlov, he's not really in any state to do it, so it kind of begs her to do that because he was desperate. He knows that the Purple Man's in the cell, and pretty much this is the time to kill him if you're going to do it. He's in the exact location you want him to. Just quickly pull the trigger, kill him, use that gun I gave you. Again, the gun that he gave her came back.
Right.
And again, Trish is weighing the decision. I like that she does consider it, and again, for a moment, it seems like she's on the phone with Simpson. She tells I just couldn't do it. And I like that he regrets asking her because it wouldn't be you if you did do it. I'm sorry I asked you to. Again, it's a nice moment between the two of them. So again, I like they are kind of repairing the rift from the previous episode, but the ideological rift is still there and going strong. So again, they're still like he's asking her to kill someone. That's kind of stepping over the line.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I like that the desperation that's driving Jessica is also compelling Trish to consider killing Purple Man more and more until the point where she actually does attempt to kill the Purple Man.
Yeah.
Because when everything's hitting the fan, when the chips are down, her friend's in danger, everyone's in danger, she's going to kill the Purple Man, no question, to protect her friend. She grew up with Jessica. Jessica's essentially her sister. And despite ominous cost, Simpson's using the pills again, which is using the awesome red, white, and blue pills that were Duke's gimmicks in the comic.
Red, white, and blue, aren't they? I just noticed that.
Yeah,
for some reason that just clicked with me. Oh god.
Well, yeah, that's the cool idea, Tiki. That's what he did in the comics. He used red, white, and blue pills to get his powers.
Dear.
Basically, I tell you, and Tiki, the more I think about it, the more I'm loving the comparison. He's like a rogue. He's like a failed Captain America. Because think about it, what's so great about this is with the pills, the best way I can describe it, basically it's a biochemical super soldier serum. It uses the human body with these pills. Like the red pill gives you adrenaline, gives you like a super soldier strength and everything. Okay. The blue will prevent you from dying of adrenaline.
Sure.
And the white one basically. Yes, and the white one balances out, so you don't crash like okay, your heart doesn't stop.
I gotcha.
It's a real simple way in the
America.
Yeah, and it's really cool too. Is like in the comics, I don't know if they're going to do this because initially I was wondering if they were going to do this. Is that they play with the idea of the placebo effect of like sometimes the people just tell them that they're really sugar pills sometimes.
Right.
I mean, in this case, in this show, we do see later on they do work because he takes the red pill. Trish takes takes some of the pills later on. We do see they do actually give you the abilities and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but again, I do love the failed Captain America idea really plays strong with Simpson. So, yeah, I think going forward, Simpson's going to be a little more interesting. You might remember, Tiki.
I think definitely season 2 Simpson will be much more compelling than it was in season 1 for sure. Sure.
Because again, they have to show like the evolution.
That's not to say he wasn't compelling in certain spots, but again, there's other spots that we can kind of poke fun at.
Yeah, like the only flaw with Simpson really is that he gets a little repetitive with things. That's really the main flaw. Sure. But he does. He's taking Trish to good places character-wise. That's why we do have to give him time of day because he does matter to the plot in the first season. He is.
Yeah.
So, okay, moving forward. So we got Hogarth and Pam.
Oh god. So Dragon, I failed to see the big kind of cool plot thing you have with this. So lay it on me.
Well, it's not.
I thought it was just really bad all around.
Well, I mean, it's a little it's kind of an easy. It's basically an excuse to get some finger stuff going on. But aside from that, no, the real reason this is actually, I think, a little more interesting than I remembered it to be is that I like the idea of her reminding Jerry of her past to motivate her, and this gets her to that whole anything, do whatever it takes measures thing. She used to be like the real cutthroat lawyer. That's where she fell in love with her, really. And that kind of bringing up the past makes Jerry stronger, makes her, embrace kind of the riskier decisions. At least it justifies the bad decision a little bit more,
Sure.
I mean, I like how it connects to the thematic idea. That's when it really hit upon me, this whole idea of the passive. Okay, it's kind of making Jerry Hogarth, it's playing to her ego, making her stronger in her own mind. So I kind of like it.
We're both, neither of us are crazy about the plot.
No. God, no.
It does kind of weave its way into the episode pretty well. You're right.
But again, it's like her motivations are out of love and desperation, much like the Purple Man's. And I think it seeds an idea that really picks up in the next episode with her and the Purple Man. So I like that being seeded here. I just wish we didn't really kind of like a weird out of place sort of like, give me your hand sort of moment. Which I gotta tell you, I think it's the most sexual thing in the first season, by the way.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyway, moving on. So we got Jessica and Malcolm.
Okay, this is a really good dynamic. It doesn't last very long, but I love this whole idea of Malcolm leading the support group. Dragon, one of my favorite moments of the series. Well, you have it in the audio, so you can play it whenever.
Yeah, sure. Well, let me.
Yeah, kind of build to it. But I just love kind of how upfront Jessica is with all the support group people, and Malcolm kind of, they've gone on different paths, but they're affected by the same thing, and they just, they're very supportive of each other. It's really nice. It's come a long way.
Yeah, I love basically the scene they have together. Basically, it's a scene where Jessica it's a clever scene where she's going to stake out the meeting so she can find out Kilgrave's mother. And that's the crux of the scene. Basically, through that, Malcolm then realizes, oh my God, it's Kilgrave's mother, and he wants to help out. And obviously, he would be no help in this situation. So Jessica tells him that much, but also she kind of puts a spin on, which again, this is another moment of kind of Jessica as a hero. She actually gives some heroic advice here, basically, let me have Kirsten Ritter do it far better justice than I would.
Of course. And like I said, this is one of my favorite moments of the season.
It's a really good moment for Malcolm.
That is why I'm not getting you involved. You let this stuff get to you. This stuff, I swear blood off your forearms right here. I don't demand body in your river. And you want to spend more time with me? Go back to that group. Help those people. That's your superpower.
Which is really nice. And what I love most about that line, that moment, Tiki? I love that it makes all the sense in the world because, Malcolm provided the way that leads to Kilgrave's defeat. He brought the parents into the picture, which by the end of the show is going to lead to Kilgrave's ultimate defeat. That's all on Malcolm because of the direction he took starting the support group. That was his idea. It all came from, it all came from that. Well, at the very least, he kind of leads the support. I mean, he took the show. I forget if it was Jessica who technically formed the support group. The point is, he leads the support group. He's the main guy.
Yeah, it's just a really nice dynamic.
And as well as she's commending him on being very heroic in his own right, I love at the same time Malcolm, time and time again, ever since the beginning, with the whole, when she came across she saved Malcolm, which, introduced her to Purple Man, as much as, he led her down a really dark path initially. I love that time and time again, Malcolm is providing Jessica with opportunities to be a hero. And this is yet another one of those times. She's given the motivational hero speech for a moment. There's a little glimmer of a moment there. It's really nice. Again, he's just, and it will continue through the course of the series. He just provides you these moments of helping her realize through her spark through the whole first season that you are a hero, Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
So, okay, last but not least, we got Purple Man and his parents, Albert and Louise Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, we already kind of went over this, but Dragon, like I said, we kind of just struck on the moral ambiguity of it all. The whole their son is going to die if they don't do something. But I mean, geez, kind of tackle it with a little bit more sensitivity, folks.
Yeah, I mean, looking at them,
thing. It's like it's just a little sensitivity. That's all I'm asking.
yeah, I mean, you see them like kind of post, like when she kind of runs away from the sport group. When we first kind of see two of them, we see they have like their characters filled with such fear and guilt over the fact that they create a monster, and they create a monster out of love. It came from a good place. It was noble intentions to save your child, but those intentions coupled with just desperation, we would just dire desperation leads to trouble every time. Remember, they took like grant money, and that's why the university's mad at them. They're doing all this, they're doing a lot of bad stuff to save their kid. You got to remember, I mean, here's a few kind of moral ambiguity questions that we didn't really talk about. But, I mean, you had a question: how many other children have suffered because we saw other kids? We don't know if that was them doing those experiments.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was kind of wondering about as well. Sure.
And again, we'll see in Luke Cage if that connects to Luke Cage by any chance. But just that the lab of other people being tested on, because again, Riva had that file, so we'll see going forward with Luke Cage. The point is, and again, I think there's this idea of like when did the parenting go away in favor of just kind of the stern, life-saving medical horror of it all? Of like, again, like not an ounce of parenting in any of that footage. Like they're just telling him, don't be such a don't whine. Like your childhood hero wouldn't cry. all that horrible stuff. You're right, dude. There's like no ounce of parenting in there, and they relinquished being. Basically, they gave up being parents to save their kid's life, which is a noble sacrifice, but still very irresponsible at the same time. So no wonder it's less the fact they created someone with Kilgrave's abilities. It's more so they created someone with Kilgrave's psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I love that in this episode. That in this episode, when they come back in the story and they reunite with Kilgrave, which I'll play the clip in a moment here, I just want to set it up there. I love that their mistake was the original mistake, is that it's the same thing. They're not parenting Kilgrave. See, we have that little tease I just played for you early on, where, again, they're treating him, well, again, it's like they had their nice heart-to-heart, and it seemed like it was working for a moment, right?
Like, it goes south very quickly, but yeah, for a moment, just the whole, oh, son, are they feeding you okay?
No, I mean, like the great moment of like, I'm sorry I hurt you, Mom. Again, it's seeming like it's going well for him. Even Clemens is touched by it, saying, "Well, look, guys, if you just let me say it was like a little like resisting arrest, right? Everything's going well for a moment." Now, again, whether this was the plan by Jessica or not, regardless, it's a mistake by the parents to go along with this because they pull out the scissors and they stab Kilgrave.
Right.
And here's the problem: it all boils down to this. The original mistake is they're treating him like an experiment or a monster. Again, something they created it's their responsibility to put him out of his misery. Put him out of everyone's misery. So again, not treating him like, for a moment they treat him like a son, and it goes well. It goes great. But the minute they treat him like an experiment, like you're our responsibility, we have to put you out of everyone's misery. That's where it all goes south. They create the monster all over again. So these guys are not without blame.
Yeah.
That scene goes a little bit like this, and this will transition us into other of our next stuff.
I'm so sorry. Sit down now! Not yet. Not our responsibility. We have got to stop you. I understand. Pick up the scissors. No. Stay there.
gruesome stuff.
Yeah, I love the desperation of the father to not be controlled.
Oh yeah, so I guess moving on to our next segment. And that speaks for itself. Moving on.
All right, well let's grab an eel bottle, pop it open, and get to some top shelf stuff.
Mighty Evil Strength. So again, as we said before, 8-9 is a great character reversal as per tradition. Which again, you see this in the other
bottle episode, Dragon. It's not just a bottle episode. It's an eel bottle episode.
Sure.
That means it's a bottle episode that's even more awesome. It's a bottle episode that's fueled with mighty eel strength. I'm just saying, it's a really, really good bottle episode.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
That's all I'm trying to say.
To me, it's kind of a bottle episode. We do kind of go outside of the main location for a bit.
I mean, with Trish and Hogarth, like briefly.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, I think I would like to say it's a bottle, so technically it might not meet the standard.
I don't know. I'd wager to say it's. I think it fits the bottle. I think it fits the formula of a bottle episode at least.
The point is, I like that it continues the Netflix tradition so far. The Marvel Netflix shows that every season of every show, episodes 8 and 9 are a reversal of each other. They're always the two best episodes that complement each other, and they always kind of like usually 8's the standout. Well, Daredevil season 2, it's kind of the reversal. So the point is, you have one's a standout and the other one complements extremely well and reverses kind of the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
I just like that tradition's going on. Continuing on just down the list here. Kilgrave behind glass and just in the sin bin location, just is excellent. Visually very dazzling. Would you like to take us through a few?
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, like you said, just well, like I said earlier, I think there's definitely a horror movie element, kind of like a torture element to it, and the moral ambiguity of the episode is definitely one of the best parts of it.
Yeah, thematic use of the past and the strengths and weaknesses, all that. Right,
just overall, just kind of like all the themes and the past coming back to haunt you. Yeah, Dragon, I'm sorry. I feel like we've already kind of, there's just a lot of I don't know, I'm fucking up.
Just want to quickly list stuff. The nuke reveal was really cool, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
It was the great visual of a powerless and not purple Kilgrave in the sin bin.
Sure.
I love how Jessica bookends the episode.
Yeah, probably one of the more creative commands that we get with the parents.
Sure. The parents' reveal in general was great, as well as the kind of the escape ending. Just the Pro-Man escapes by the end, which is always kind of a cool ending to have with any villain. The hopeful note of the ending, which I'll get to in a moment, which I really did like. The moral killing dilemma is explored with Trish, so we're continuing with that, but through a different character's perspective, and just seeing how it's going to relate to Jessica in the end. Jessica's investigative skills saving the day, I really like that. And I think the last thing to mention probably is I think it's a great payoff of Kilgrave's kind of manipulation. He's so devil-like in this episode. So I know we said this all before. Just going through a little checklist. Like, this is the stuff that really made this episode kind of stand above the rest. Stand up, along the rest. On the top sheet.
It's hard to kind of. It's just like this episode is kind of hard to talk about in general, just because so many things are standout. That I feel like all the things that it does kind of bleeds into each other a lot.
Just everything but the divorce stuff's good.
Well, even like you said, even the divorce stuff gets kind of slightly interesting within the context of the episode. So, goddamn it!
All right, let's go to our next segment.
One shortcoming. Everyone knows it's Wendy.
Everyone knows it's Wendy.
And everyone also knows it's time for our heroic sandwich moment. Yeah.
Everyone knows it's hungry.
Right, so speaking of hungry, I think I should go first with that. So my heroic sandwich moment is literally Jessica just giving Kilgrave a sandwich.
Explain why.
Well, I mean, because she is trying to set up some evidence. She's going in there. I think the heroic context is kind of, she is risking it by even going in there in the first place. She doesn't know if his powers are going to work or not.
Because she just assumes it's still going to work, and she just wants something to happen on tape.
Of course. So I'd say with that in general, like, the sandwich is just kind of like a fun, like, there's a sandwich, ha ha ha. But it also, it's a nice gesture. You know, it's like she could just give him like, no, I'm serious. She could just throw him like anything, but she made him a sandwich. You know, come on, that's nice. But no, in all seriousness, no, just kind of like the gravity of Jessica stepping in there when she's completely putting herself on the line to put herself above herself, to put herself for Hope. So that is definitely makes it a worthy heroic sandwich moment in my book.
Sure, sure. And I also want to mention something with that sandwich. I really love the horrifying end of that too, where Kilgrave again he uses it to his advantage, where he writes "help me" on the glass there, so it's caught on video. The whole "help me" thing. So it's kind of a way of turning that gesture against her in a way. It's like no matter what it's caught on camera, it's always going to say "help me" on there. It's always going to raise some questions.
You wouldn't have had that problem if you would have got a pimento. All right.
Anyway, so like God knows what else he would have used the room on the wall there. I don't think there was there a bathroom in that cell, Tiki?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I want to say
because I don't think there was. I'm a little concerned what the plan was for that.
Oh dear.
I mean, there's water on the floor. You know. I mean, is there a drainage system? Does it get gross?
What if I have to go number 2, Jessica? I'm sorry, that got a little crude, but I couldn't help myself.
Anyway, so number 2 moment. But far not actually number 2 moment. Actually, a good moment. Two things. One's a little minor one I'm going to start with. I like the little where she calls Hope and kind of gives Hope her namesake and telling her, "Hey, don't give up your namesake because I have Kilgrave in a cell."
Right. It's like this is everything we've been working for.
Yeah, man. I really do like it. It is a very heroic moment for Jessica in that. Don't get me wrong. I like that it is questioned among the like. Well, you might be giving our hopes up.
Sure.
Again, no pun intended. Well, the Hope name. I'm sorry, folks. This Hope's one of those names is hard to avoid. But seriously, I do like it's kind of her just trying to tell the victim, who again she's absolutely responsible for her being a victim, which I love. That's kind of a constant reminder. Because her parents were killed as a reminder by Kilgrave for Jessica. I think remember Hope's been a little dodgy here and there during the season, but I think now she's fixed herself so far. I mean, I can't remember if she went off the rails towards later in the season or not. So we'll see how that goes.
I want to say she does go a little bit off the rails towards the end, but
I mean, we'll see. But I don't want to spoil it. Well, again, not spoil, but I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Sure.
So, other thing, my main moment, this moment I really love, it might be a little unconventional. I just really love it. It's very subtle, but I love it. I love that the ending of the episode. I love this. Speaking of hope, I love this hopeful smile that Jessica gives. Everything is coming down around her, but the moment she realizes Kilgrave's control didn't work on me, and that basically gives her. It's so wonderfully acted. The score is really good in the moment, and again, I love how. I meant to mention this from the beginning, by the way, and maybe in Top Shelf stuff also. Melissa Rosenberg, the showrunner of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, she's also a writer on Dexter and executive producer on Dexter. So, I mean, if you look at Jessica Jones does have a lot of Dexter-esque qualities, especially this episode. Feels very much like kind of something that'd be towards the tail end of a Dexter season. You know, like that episode.
Sure, definitely kind of an elaborate kill trap for sure.
Yeah, it's also that episode in Dexter, it's in every season, where things go south for Dexter. He has to think of what happened in the next 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so with that, I love that it's like one of those moments, like it's almost like, it's not to the same effect of like a hello, Dexter Morgan, but it's kind of along the lines of like a Dexter figuring out kind of like, I know how to defeat him. Sort of moment. But with Jessica, though, I just love this. It's kind of a similar thing where she gives that smile because she realizes he can't control me anymore. It's also a hopeful thing. She realizes, I didn't, killing Riva at least freed me from his control.
Right.
And a moment goes a little bit like this. Really beautiful the way it plays out. It's also a little bit of an excuse to have Jessica back in the fray.
Oh God.
So last thing I want to mention real quick is we already talked about it. I just want to say again, it really feeds in, out of everything in the episode, it feeds into the idea of the past is now a little rosier for Jessica Jones and is giving her strength going forward, because now she realizes, oh my God, the past, that Reva thing, is freed me from his control. And I still like to think, I mean, they're going to give an excuse coming up where it's going to be, it still makes sense, but I also like to think it's a twofold thing. Is that my fan theory is that while the excuse is that Jessica spent so much time around the Pertman, they speculate, she developed an immunity to the pheromones. I also like to believe that it's that the killing Reva was so traumatic for her, she was psychologically able to break the control, and that's why she can't be controlled again, because it was so traumatic.
Sure.
I mean, that's just my personal theory. I think it makes a little bit more sense in the pheromone thing, because why in that direct, because it's kind of a caveat, not a caveat, it's kind of a contrivance that, okay, now all of a sudden she's free of the control after she's killed Reva.
Yeah.
I just think it's twofold. I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on a tangent. My point is, it's a really, really great moment. She's free now, and she's a little option to be more heroic. It's going to be awesome. It's such a hopeful moment with Jessica Jones, her life going in shambles at the moment. Really, really awesome, heroic moment for me. Moving on.
Cool. So let's get to the other side of the coin there with Kilgrave's command. So Dragon, I don't want to spend much time on mine because we already kind of went through it with the parent stuff. But what I really love about my command, the whole stab yourself for each year that you abandon me, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's that one we've already kind of gone through. Yeah, like the thing to the mother was stab yourself for every year you abandon me. The father was supposed to do that, but then there was an alteration.
But I just love how creative he gets with that. And that's the one thing I want to highlight with my command, just the creativity, just the gruesome creativity of it. You know what I mean? Just like, okay, I'm going to make you do something that's going to be painful for you, but it's also going to make you like realize what a shitty parent you are at the same time while you're doing this gruesome thing to yourself. It hits on so many levels.
It is really cruel.
So, like you said, we've kind of gone over it, so...
So you want me to play the thing then?
Oh, sure.
It's like 20 seconds, I think so. I'm sorry. This is also my. Let me set this up too. That was the addition to. We already played your moment, Tiki. I just wanted that was the other side of it.
Right.
But this moment coming up is also my my Kilgrave command. It's like two small ones where he tells. Let me play it for, then I'll explain. Sorry, let me just finish the thing out real quick. So, with those three commands, I mean, first and foremost, I love the minute he gets out of there, he's using very strategic, very instant commands. He's using like he rattles off like 3 or 4 commands right after he's able to.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Secondly, I want to mention I like this one more so for the next episode where you realize like the aftermath of any Kilgrave command, where Trish is told to put a bullet in her head. But in the next episode, she can literally like have a bullet. She's trying to put the shell casing of a bullet or something into her head. It's so dark and creepy, but still, like the immediacy, as you pointed out to me earlier, Tika, the immediacy is also quite jarring. Because thankfully, if Trish didn't use all of her ammo on Kilgrave to break through that glass and to shoot him in the shoulder,
she would have been dead, right?
Yeah, right. So you're right. There is something terrifying about the immediacy, but the aftermath is really what creeps me out later on. We'll get to that next episode. But also the other thing, just as my fail-safe, because that's more next episode. The one in this episode too is also really creepy. Is Clemens? He's handcuffed this whole scene. The detective who was kind of our fake Commissioner Gordon. Again, they kind of also he's kind of an odd fool, by the way. Now I think about it, I mean, it's not any points against the show, but he was supposed to tie into the Punisher.
Okay.
On the Punisher task force in the comics, and given the fact that Daredevil we have the Punisher, this guy,
right?
No correlation.
Maybe we'll eventually see him in the Punisher series.
Well, we know we're not going to see him in the Punisher series, but we'll.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry. Right.
Okay, the point is, Clemens there, he's handcuffed, and he just has to break.
I'm sorry.
Maybe. No, but with Clemens, though, it's so creepy. He has to break his thumb. This thing you actually have to do if you want to escape handcuffs, without. Because remember, handcuffs are less strong than they seem to be.
Uh-huh.
He has to break his thumb, to get the hand out of it and scrape his wrist too. It's real nasty. He has to cut his wrist and break his thumb to get out those handcuffs. Really creepy. I think ultimately our favorite Kilgrave command is always going to be this one, however.
I want cake! Strawberries on top.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but I also want to mention too that with the Kilgrave command, this one was kind of my runner-up. I think it's something we definitely have to mention regardless. This because we're coming close to the end as well. Is that this is such a it's kind of a technicality because it's a Kilgrave command that does not work, but it has such a resonance behind it. Is that this is the moment where Jessica realizes she can't be controlled by the Purple Man.
Of course.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you want to write it off, too, you could say like, "Oh, well, the detective is ordered to save him." But I love most about this is the fear in Kilgrave's voice of realizing, "Oh my God, I can't control her." So they both realize this simultaneously. It goes a little something like this.
Let go of me, Jessica! Get her off me, detective!
Love the fear in that voice when he says, "Get her off of me, detective!" So that's a fearful Kilgrave command. And just for those who may not have caught it, here's in slow-mo.
Oh no.
Let go of me, Jessica!
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so moving on.
Okay, let's get to alleyway evidence. Let's go between the buildings. Yeah.
So let's see. So here's what's been set up and paid off or going to pay off in the future. So Kilgray's father's back in the picture. He's going to have a role to play in the coming episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents, they came back in the footage as well. So that was just something that's built off and it was paid off this episode. Malcolm's guilty over Ruben. That's going to come back, most definitely.
I would also definitely say just kind of the general dynamic between Jessica and Malcolm building to what eventually becomes of them.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great, too. It's also the support group. Support group's going to have a role to play in the next episode as well.
Oh, God. Oh, it's so dark. It's so fucked up. All right.
Yep. Let's see. So Trish shooting Kilgrave, again, the gun kind of having a payoff, and also, again, the idea of the question being raised about shooting Kilgrave, and Kilgrave's going to have a bad shoulder in the coming episode. You imagine someone's going to have to fix. Hope's case, the plea bargain and everything, and now she didn't take the plea bargain. Boy, is Hope still in hot water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see. So, divorce going south for Hogarth.
Yeah.
Simpson becoming Nuke and the pills. The pills are going to be important coming up, too.
Red, white, and blue, motherfucker!
Anyway, so
I was compelled. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Kilgrave being free because of Hogarth, and they're going to reveal that in the next episode. But I do love looking back. The reason I just bring up Hogarth casually is because I like the way they shoot this Tiki is that the minute the buzzer is the minute the buzzer doesn't work, the electrify the room, the camera focuses on Hogarth and she says, "Get him out of there," instead of like push the button. So again, I like that they place blame on her visually, so the nice little connecting thing, which might as well bring it up here, connecting things.
Of course.
Last thing, of course, is Jessica learning that she's immune to Kilgrave. That's the biggest thing of all. You got anything else?
No, I think we covered it.
All right, last call.
Okay, so last call, folks. Last call.
Last call. Drunkies to the bar. Last call. Well, lead us off.
Okay, well, like I said, I definitely think this is one of the stronger episodes of the season, probably in my top 3, definitely. There's so much going on. There's so much at play. It's all just such great build-up between episode 8 and 9. Like we said, the whole series kind of builds up to episode 8, and then episode 9 is kind of just a flip of that. This is like the closest that I feel like Marvel, the Netflix stuff, has come to kind of like, it's not so much a horror movie per se, but it's very much kind of in that Silence of the Lambs territory of like psychological thriller veering into the horror territory a little bit.
Tell me, Jessica, have the lambs stopped screaming?
Oh, God. Oh, man. No, just in general, just really fantastic. I still argue that, you're right. We do get a couple scenes that are outside of this, but just in terms of just like an episode that primarily takes place around one location, this is a hell of a location. So really fantastic stuff.
Yeah, just the so much, and I think it complements episode 8 very well. It complements it tremendously well. I'm not crazy about the kind of contrived Hogarth stuff or the divorce plotline. That's pretty usual. Basically, that's my only knock against the episode. Otherwise, I think it's very good. So again, if I were to rank like the best episodes, this one would be in the top 5, absolutely. It might be like number 3 or number 2. I'm not sure. It's one of the, it's up there. I forget if there's any other fantastic ones I'm overlooking. Because I mean, the beginning ones are really good as well. Let's not forget. My point is, like, there's a slew of really good episodes. Of course, episode 8 would lead my top whatever list for Jessica Jones. Again, so aside from not being crazy about that, the episode's really strong. It's a great premise for an episode. I love the premise for the episode. You have the Purple Man exactly where you want him for the episode. It doesn't really leave until the very end. It's a great idea. It brings up good thematic ideas with the past and, with desperation, all the stuff we, kind of Dr. Blue in the face about. It has a great, disastrous yet hopeful ending. Again, I'm in love. Rewatching, I forgot how in love with the ending I was. And I'm really, I just remember being caught up in the revelation of it when it first aired. Well, not aired, but when I first watched it. But yeah, I was like, man, that was a really good. You don't see that note, it ending on that note that often. Like everything's going wrong, but a little bit of hope there. Because usually on Arrow, it's like, oh no, the world's ending, someone's dead, and they're gonna be brought back a few seasons later.
Yeah.
Like Kel from Keenan. Oh, here it goes. But I think this episode, if there's anything to be said about this episode shows you why the Purple Man is so dangerous. With or without his powers, the guy's a manipulator. You do not want to be in a room with this guy.
Yeah, definitely. So
overall, really strong episode.
Tremendous stuff all around, and we'll definitely be working towards getting to episode 13 by the time that Luke Cage drops. So you heard it, folks. The last call, which means we've been cut off. But as we finish the next Marvel brand this evening and top off the latest bottle of Jessica Jones, we take a moment to toast to another fine Netflix series.
I'll drink to that.
Jessica!
Jessica!
My boys. They killed my boy.